The stone shelves held the quiet of evening as Lior walked slowly along them. Violet light thinned through the high windows of the old bell tower and lay in soft bands across row after row of glass. Each bottle caught a little of that light and kept it for a while, cool against the fading day. Lior reached out and turned one bottle with careful fingers. Inside it a porch sigh drifted in slow circles, the kind of breath that rises when chairs empty and doors stand half open. He spoke its name in a voice no louder than the breeze itself and set the bottle gently back. He moved a few steps farther. The next held a distant train whisper, thin and far, like iron singing over empty fields at dusk. He noted it softly. When he returned the bottle to its place, a thin ribbon of violet light rested on cool glass, steady and still. Another held orchard hush, the stillness between leaves when no wind stirs them. Lior turned it once and listened. The hush pressed gently against the inside of the glass, soft as dust settling. He named it and left it among its neighbors. Pip came on pale wings through the open archway. The moth settled against a bottle that had arrived only that afternoon, its seal still fresh and unbroken. From inside the glass a low lullaby hummed, steady and patient, unlike any of the breezes Lior had catalogued that hour. Lior paused beside Pip. Neither of them knew the tune. It was not a porch song or a train song or an orchard song. It seemed older, or simply misplaced, a melody no living person appeared to remember learning. The sound was quiet enough to rest inside the ear without pressing. They listened together. Around them the other bottles caught the last of the violet hour, each one holding a faint glow as the light withdrew from the stone walls. Dust motes drifted without hurry. The air smelled faintly of cool masonry and old wood. Lior left the humming bottle slightly apart on the shelf, unanswered for now. He rested his hand near the glass. Pip folded pale wings against the curve of the bottle and stayed there, light as a breath. The tower grew quieter. Outside, the sky cooled by slow degrees. Inside, the shelves kept their slow company, and the open question of the unknown lullaby floated between them like a soft breath that had not yet found its home. The humming went on, low and even, while evening settled deeper into the stone. Pip stirred along the curve of the glass, pale wings barely brushing the hum. The moth moved in a slow arc, tracing the faint echo where the lullaby seemed thinnest, then thickest, as if following a path only quiet wings could feel. Lior watched without speaking. His fingertips settled on the stopper and found it warmer than the evening air, soft as breath held too long against wood. A softer voice rose from inside the bottle, not louder than the hum, only nearer. It made plain, without hurry, that the seal would loosen only for a key sound gathered from 3 gentle ordinary places still missing their quiet. 3 fragments, ordinary as leaf shade and water and returned air. Nothing rare. Nothing far beyond patience. The bottle thinned a little at the shoulders while they listened. A few pale threads of air lifted and curled, then settled again, as if the glass itself had begun to remember openness. A thin ribbon of violet light rested on cool glass, lingering where the last of the hour touched the curve. Lior understood then that the humming would not stay sealed forever if left unhelped. The work of the shelves was shifting. He took a square of soft cloth from the lower shelf and wrapped the bottle with care, leaving the neck free so Pip could ride the rim. The cloth smelled faintly of clean dust and old cedar. Pip settled there, light as a folded thought. Together they turned from the long ranks of quiet glass and began the slow descent of the worn stone steps. Each step held the cool of night coming on. The stairwell smelled of masonry and distant rain that had not yet fallen. Below them the tower door stood ajar, its wood smoothed by years of soft openings. Lior carried the wrapped bottle close to his chest, feeling the low hum travel through cloth and into the steady pace of his walking. They crossed the lower chamber where empty shelves kept their own stillness. The air moved differently here, freer, touched by the open world beyond. Lior did not rush. Pip's wings made no sound against the rim. The work that had been cataloguing was becoming a slow circuit of listening, outward now, beyond the tower door and into the waiting quiet of ordinary places. They paused at the tower threshold under the open sky, bottle in hand, with the first listening place waiting somewhere ahead and no hurry in the air. They stepped from the threshold into grass that held the cool of coming night. The path led them without hurry toward a stand of trees whose branches waited low and unlit. Lior kept the wrapped bottle close. Pip rode the rim in stillness. Behind them the tower grew smaller until its stones no longer pressed against the sky. The orchard slept with its leaves barely turning. The ground beneath the trunks held a mineral cool that rose through the thin soles of Lior's shoes. Damp bark scented the air, mixed with the faint sweetness of fruit that had fallen earlier and now rested among the roots. No birds called. No one walked these rows but the two of them. Lior moved between the trunks until the canopy opened just enough for the last violet hour to reach them. He stopped. He stood without speaking and let the quiet settle around his shoulders. This hush was not the quiet of empty shelves. It was deeper, fuller, layered from many small silences that had gathered here over seasons of soft wind and slower growth. He breathed and waited. Pip's wings remained folded. The bottle hummed its low unanswered tune against the cloth. After a long while the orchard hush became distinct from ordinary silence. It carried the weight of leaves that remembered every breeze that had ever passed through them. Then a soft rustle shaped itself overhead, the sound of leaves answering a breeze that had already gone. The reply came delayed and gentle, without urgency, and nearly faded before it finished. Lior unwrapped the bottle just enough. He lifted it and cupped his free hand near the mouth, guiding the rustle carefully toward the glass. Nothing was forced. The fragment of sound settled inward like a leaf finding water. A thin ribbon of violet light resting on cool glass marked the place where the quiet entered and stayed. Pip's wings brushed once against the side and then hushed completely. Inside the bottle the lullaby deepened by a single familiar note, as if the tune had remembered a syllable it once knew by heart. The note joined the hum without rising above it. Lior lowered the bottle and drew the cloth around it again. The glass felt partly warmed now beneath his fingers. He sat with his back against a smooth trunk. Pip settled on a fallen leaf that still held a trace of the day's last warmth. Between them the bottle rested, one fragment of the key sound held inside, two still unknown, while the orchard kept its soft breathing and no hurry waited before the next walk. Lior rose when the orchard light had thinned a little further and the air held a cooler edge. He gathered the cloth-wrapped bottle against his chest and followed a narrow path that wandered downhill between soft grasses. Pip rode the rim again, wings folded, pale as a petal in shade. The ground changed underfoot from dry leaf litter to damp earth that smelled faintly of roots and moss. The path opened at a slow bend of creek where the water slid rather than rushed. Smooth stones lay half-sunk along the shallow edge, their surfaces dark and rounded from long patient work. The air smelled clean and slightly green, like crushed mint left in shade. Lior knelt on the bank and set the bottle beside him for a moment, letting the cloth fall open. Cool damp rose through the knees of his trousers. He watched the water fold over the stones in quiet sheets that never broke into hurry. Pip lifted from the rim and skimmed the surface in slow circles. Tiny wings brushed the current without stirring it much. When the moth returned, faint echoes clung to those pale wings, soft private talk of water finding its way between rounded edges, a continuous hush too low for ordinary ears. Pip settled once more against the glass and offered those echoes without a sound. Lior leaned closer. At first he heard only the familiar splash and the low bubble of deeper places. He waited. Breath by breath the larger noises thinned until a smaller continuous sound separated itself, the patient friction of water polishing stone, grain by grain, year by year. It was neither loud nor sharp. It simply kept going, soft and sure, the way a hand might smooth a piece of worn wood. He lifted the bottle and held its mouth toward that quieter place. Nothing was hurried. The fragment of sound drifted inward the way mist settles on morning grass. A thin ribbon of violet light resting on cool glass marked the place where the quiet entered and stayed, joining the earlier orchard rustle without crowding it. Inside the bottle the two pieces began to braid, leaf rustle and water polish turning slowly around each other. The lullaby deepened by another familiar note, warmer now, closer to something half-remembered. The glass hummed against Lior's palms with a gentle heat that spread through his fingers. He stayed kneeling a little longer, listening to the creek keep its own unhurried speech. The stones stayed smooth. The water stayed patient. Pip's wings rested still. When the new fragment felt settled, Lior eased the cloth around the bottle once more and shifted to sit fully on the bank. He slipped his feet into the shallow edge until the cool water closed over his ankles. Pip found a dry pebble nearby. Between them the bottle rested, holding two quiet pieces nearly braided, the third place still only a gentle thought ahead. The creek continued its soft work, and the evening light thinned without rush. They rose from the creek when the light had thinned a little further and followed a soft path toward a low wooden porch. The boards still held a faint warmth from the day. Two empty rocking chairs faced the quiet yard, their curved runners resting as if they remembered weight. Lior set the bottle on the smooth railing. Pip settled near the cloth's edge. For a while only mothwing hush moved between them. Then one chair rocked once, slow and low. Wood answered wood, and a patient breath of air passed through the grain. Lior cupped that sound the way he had cupped the others. It nearly settled. Nearly. The creek thinned and slipped free before the bottle could take it fully. Inside the glass the braided key grew quieter, leaf rustle and water polish loosening their hold by a gentle fraction. He did not hurry. He sat on the porch step and rested his open hands on his knees. Pip waited too. Evening drew long shadows across the boards. At last the chair offered its creak again, softer this time, almost shy. Pip lifted and hovered close to the glass, wings still enough to steady the faint echo until it held. The third fragment joined. Wood and air rhythm braided cleanly with the orchard rustle and the patient water polish. The bottle warmed against the railing. Its stopper eased upward on its own, not forced, simply ready. Thin ribbons of air began to lift from the open mouth, pale and slow, braiding as they rose. A thin ribbon of violet light rested on cool glass for a breath before the rising air carried that color upward too. The ribbons thickened into steps, not solid, yet firm enough for a careful foot and a pale moth's light weight. They climbed into the open rafters of the porch roof, where the beams held dust like soft snow and the wind moved differently among them, slower, as if thinking. Up among those beams Lior and Pip stood with the half-open bottle between them. The lullaby no longer sounded orphaned. It belonged to the wind itself. The wind had grown thin and forgetful without its oldest song, and the bottle had only been gathering that song home rather than keeping it locked away. They stood quietly in the rafters with the half-open bottle and the soft knowledge that return, not keeping, was always the point. Lior turned the stopper the rest of the way. It left the glass with a soft, dry sound, no louder than a page settling. For a moment nothing moved. Then the melody unfolded itself, long and easy, rising past the open rafters and out into the wide dark above the porch. The tune spread in slow ribbons across the sky. It did not hurry. It simply found the air that had been waiting for it and lay down there like a familiar blanket. Far below, inside the stone tower, the other bottles answered with a softer harmony. Each drifted breeze seemed to recognize an older cousin and grew quiet in its own place, shoulders easing against cool shelves. Pip drifted upward on the last of the rising notes, pale wings barely stirring. Lior watched the song thin into the higher dark until only a gentle pressure remained in the ears, the kind left after a long breath finally ends. The staircase of air began to thin beneath their feet. Each step softened as they descended, dissolving behind them into ordinary night. They came down carefully. The wooden porch received them without a creak. The bottle in Lior's hands was empty now, cool and light. A thin ribbon of violet light rested on cool glass for a final breath, then slipped away with the last of the returned air. Lior carried the quiet vessel back through the tower door and up the worn inner steps, Pip riding the rim as before. Among the shelves the mineral dark smelled of old stone and settled dust. Lior set the empty bottle in its place among its neighbors. The glass felt ordinary again, smooth and still. All around them the shelves seemed to breathe more easily, as if a held note had finally been allowed to finish. Outside, the wind moved with a familiar gentleness it had almost forgotten. It touched the orchard leaves, the creek stones, the porch chairs, and each place answered with the small sounds that had always belonged there. Inside the tower only ordinary night remained, moth hush against stone, the faint settling of old walls, the distant nothing of deep evening. Lior sat on the lowest step of the inner stair. Pip folded pale wings and rested against a bottle that no longer hummed with longing. The violet hour had long since passed. Night deepened around the calm tower. The last ribbon of violet light left the glass, and the shelves held only silence and cool air. Nothing asked to be answered. Nothing waited to be gathered. Rest arrived without a remaining question, soft as the wind's oldest song returning home. Sleep gathers now as gently as the wind takes back its tune.